Hello guys and welcome to my new video, a classic Lorcana meta battle, my newest version of Ruby Amethyst versus Set 10 Steelsong with some live commentary. But before we dive into the gameplay, don't forget to subscribe for more Lorcana videos every week. And now, have fun, let's go! Before we go into game number 1, we have a look at the deck we used for this gameplay video. Astrid was rocking my newest version of Ruby Amethyst with some changes from my most recent Ruby Amethyst video. I upped the number of 1-drop characters, added some palace guards, and I added some mother gossels to move damage, which is pretty awesome against any steel decks. I also added 2 copies of the new legendary Hercules, the Ruby one. He's basically untouchable except he's being challenged, otherwise he can't be dealt damage, and the rest of the deck is pretty much the same I showed in my recent video. And I was playing with my newest Steelsong build. I changed a couple cards. I removed Captain Hook because it didn't do much, and for some evasive tag I added 2 copies of I'm Much Faster to give one of my characters alert so he can challenge evasive characters, and I added 3 copies of the new Mickey Amber champion to boost up my other Amber characters, which I have plenty of in this deck. A really strong song package with lots of removals, and I think Steelsong isn't there yet where it was before the rotation, but I think it's a fun deck and very cool to play. Let's see how game number 1 goes. So Astrid is on the play, inking a Tinkerbell, playing another Tinkerbell as her turn 1 play, which is always a good start. And I'm dropping an Aurora in turn 1, having the option of playing a princess with 1 ink less the next turn. She's dropping a Lumiere, thinking, okay, do I quest here? Tinkerbell usually is a good choice for a 1-drop because she trades up into almost every other 1 or 2-drop character in the game right now, and with Lumiere on the board she has 4th ranked already, and Astrid decides, okay, I quest for 1 here. The worst that can happen is I trade with Aurora into Tinkerbell, but you already got the lore. I play a Mowgli here because I don't have any other turn to play. I look at at her hand cards, I see no actions, no other non-character cards, but I see she doesn't have a real turn 3 play. And yeah, she's inking a 5-cost Elsa, dropping another Tinkerbell, questing with the other, going up to 2 lore. And yeah, I have a Mowgli on board and Aurora, and at some point I need to establish some singers on board to start my song engine. Questing with Aurora here, and for 3 ink I play the new Whisper Ariel, which usually costs 4 ink, but with the effect of Aurora I can play her 1 turn earlier. And the effect of Aurora is pretty good actually, of Ariel is pretty good actually, because when you boost her and you play your song in the turn, you can draw a card. I trade with a Mowgli into her Tinkerbell, and then I pass the turn. And with 4 ink she's dropping a genie, drawing a card, and with the Tinkerbell she could quest here probably, or trade into my Aurora. But with Lumiere on board, her Tinkerbell has 4th ranked, and if I exert the Ariel she could trade into the Ariel the next turn. I'm playing an Aurora, boosting Ariel with 1 ink, and then singing Zeus onto her genie, and because of the effect of the Whisper Ariel I draw a card, and this is where this deck generates card draw with the boost Ariel effect, and then passing turn. Now the situation is the following: she has a Tinkerbell on board, Lumiere, and the best play here probably would be trading into the Ariel. With 4 ink she is dropping another genie because she knows I don't have many evasive answers, and below the Ariel I boosted with a dog, also going into the discard pile, leaving my board with only the Aurora and the other Aurora. Inking a Mowgli here, with 2 ink I'm dropping a Troubadour, and with 2 ink I'm dropping another Troubadour and questing with Aurora in the turn. And I think I made a mistake here because Aurora usually quests for 2 and I only counted 1 lore here. And yeah, passing turn, back to Astrid. She has a Lumiere and a Genie on board. Genie has 3 strength already due to Lumiere, and I really like Lumiere. With strength raging fire, almost only steel removal, and with Let the Storm Rage On gone after rotation, Lumiere is such a powerhouse in Ruby decks. And she's thinking, what can I do here? She has 5 ink available, like 3 or 4 hand cards at this point. I have only 1 hand card left. She's counting her ink and dropping a Headless Horseman, which removes one of my Troubadours, boosting up the strength of Genie up to 4, and he's taking out my exerted Aurora, leaving 1 damage on Genie. Headless Horseman is such a good card in Ruby Amethyst because there are so many valuable targets with 1 or 2 strength he can take out. For example, this Amber Mickey has only 2 strength, but talking about cards targetable by Headless Horseman, we have Genie, we have Elsa, and there are so many cards. Tramp, for example, Vincenzo Santorini in Blue Steel is targetable by Headless Horseman, and he's boosting up all the other cards strength-wise when a character is removed in the turn. I'm singing Strength of Raging Fire with Troubadour onto the Headless Horseman, deciding not to go for the Genie because I value the strength boost much higher than the 2 lore and the evasive from Genie, leaving me with no hand cards. And lore-wise, we are only at 2 lore each, already going into turn 6, I think, here. And Astrid has plenty of options. There's so many hand cards, and I have empty hands, and I'm starting to struggle with draw because I already lost 1 dog due to the Ariel boost, only drew 1 card of Ariel. And yeah, Astrid, I see in her hand she has 4 cards in hand, so many options and so many things she can do here, thinking carefully. And yeah, I don't know, at this point I think she's far ahead, even though I have 3 characters on board, and with Mickey on board, all my other Amber characters, which also counts as dual link characters like Troubadour, they have 2 more willpower, and with 2 Amber characters in play, Mickey becomes a singer 8, which could sing like Beyond the Horizon or this family. Look at this family on his own. I'm dropping a Dino 1-drop here, which is not the top deck I wanted to see. And yeah, Astrid quested with Genie up to 4, and I do nothing here. And yeah, her board is getting bigger with Ciso in the mix, with Rafiki in the mix, and Rafiki also with Lumiere has already 4 strength. She's dropping another Genie, drawing even more cards, inking a Dumbo here to go up to 6 ink, have more ink available. And yeah, I think she can fairly safely quest with her 2 lore questers, Sisu and Genie, going up to 8 lore here. I'm dropping another Mickey champion, boosting up all my Amber characters with 4 willpower. So like my Troubadour is a 1/7 now with 1 resist, so he's pretty much not challengeable and targetable with challenging because he has so much willpower. But Astrid has so many cards in hand. I think it's 3 at this point. So much ink, so many options. And she's dropping a Dumbo here, which I gotta say it, like the first time she's really playing a Dumbo deck, using the effect with Genie, gaining 1 lore, drawing a card, and her draw engine is online. And if I can't remove Dumbo the next turn, I think this is game for Astrid, because she has so many characters on board. She's using the Dumbo effect again with another genie, drawing a card, gaining 1 lore, going up to 10 at this point, and I can't do anything against her evasive characters if I don't draw into any card draw or removal song or the evasive tech I put into my Steelsong. And yeah, her Sisu is like at the weakest point. I have no cards in hand, it's only 1/4, but she's questing for 2 more, going up to 12 lower at this point, and her board is wide, and she has lethal on board. I guess she's going up to 13 with Rafiki even, and now she has lethal on board. And I need to start removing something here. And yeah, I'm singing Beyond the Horizon with Mickey Champion. She has to discard 3. Everyone's drawing 3 cards of Beyond the Horizon, so I disrupt her game plan a little bit. I'm drawing into, this is my, look at this family, inking it and singing Beyond the Horizon again with the other Mickey Champion. Everyone is discarding, also Astrid. I'm drawing 3 new cards, hoping to find some answers to her Dumbo, to her evasive characters. But at this point, it's so hard. I'm hard casting Strength of a Raging Fire onto Genie because I need to remove those 2 lore questers, giving Dumbo -1 strength with the small rhino, and I have 1 World's Greatest Criminal Mind in hand, which doesn't do anything here. I remove her Rafiki with Troubadour and Aurora, leaving a Dumbo, a Sisu, a Genie and a Lumiere on board, and suddenly she only has 6 lore on board. I'm looking at her discard, what she discarded with the 2 Beyond the Horizon, but still she has 6 lore on board. And yeah, using the Dumbo effect first, drawing a card, gaining 1 lore, and having like 5 cards in hand now. A lot of options, a lot of cards to play and pressure my board, and like having all the answers in hand. I think I see another Headless Horseman. And yeah, with 4, she's dropping her 4th Genie in the game, drawing another card. She's dropping another Rafiki for going even wider, which, yeah, then she quests for 2 with Sisu, quests for 3 more, going up to 19, and I have to remove pretty much everything on board right now, having only World's Greatest Criminal in hand. I'm playing another Mogul, looking at her hand and seeing, okay, there are more answers to my board. A Demona, a 5-cost Elsa, and I can't do nothing because I didn't draw into removal in game number 1. Astrid took game number 1 with a pretty impressive run. And going into game number 2, I will be on the play with Steelsong and Astrid on the draw with Ruby Amethyst. And I can tell from all my testing games, I have a pretty good on the draw win rate with Ruby Amethyst against a wide variety of decks and meta decks for especially. And yeah, at this point I'm keeping my hand with Steelsong because I have the Rhino Shift line, I have songs, I have ink, and yeah, it's a pretty good starting hand with Steelsong. At least I can plan ahead like until turn 3 here. Astrid trading 4 cards in the mulligan. And yeah, let's see how game number 2 goes for me with Steelsong. And I'm inking a Troubadour and dropping a small Rhino, of course, because I have the shift line in hand already. And there's not much she can do in the first 2 turns against this Rhino shift. She's dropping a Rafiki here, which is a good on the draw play in turn 1. Of course, shifting Rhino here, going up to 2 lore. And Rhino is pretty much untouchable here because of his 2 resist. And she's dropping a Diablo 3/3 body, quest for 2. Also a good play here actually. And with with Rhino on board, I already have a Singer 4 established, dropping Pete, even though I know there are no actions or songs in Astrid's stack. And I'm dropping a Zeus onto her Diablo, preventing the 2 lore in the next turn. She's dropping a Sisu and doing nothing with Rafiki here, because Rafiki has only 3 strength and would die to Rhino. I'm singing, look at this family, look at the top 5 cards, putting 2 characters into my hand. And I have to reveal the cards so Astrid knows what cards I will put in my hand. I take a Doc and an Aurora, so I plan ahead a little bit for card draw, because card draw was the issue in the last game. And with 3 ink, I drop an Aurora, thing of 5, 1 strength, 4 health, quests for 2, which is pretty good to establish multiple singers here. And yeah, I have 2 cards in hand right now, the Doc, and I don't remember exactly what the other card was. She's dropping a Yago, which is a good play here, because now on my side I need to decide, do I remove the 2 Lord Quester with Sisu, or do I aim for Yago, his big body, 4 strength, 6 health, and she could boost him up with Lumiere or the Headless Horseman the next turn. And she's trading with Rafiki into Pete Referee. And yeah, she's not questing with Sisu because I could take him out with Rhino. Inking a Strength of a Raging Fire, unfortunately, dropping a Mickey Amber Champion. And singing another Strength of a Raging Fire onto Yago, questing with Rhino up to 4. And it looks like I get the hang of this game. She's dropping a Headless Horseman though, removing my Mickey Champion, boosting up the strength of Sisu up to 3 strength. And yeah, after thinking, do I leave 3 damage on Aurora or like deal some damage on Rhino? But then she has to sacrifice her Sisu at this point. And yeah, she is challenging into Aurora, leaving 3 damage on Aurora here and 1 damage on Sisu. So she's not going for the lore here, rather for the damage, to have like an advantage the next turn if Aurora is still in the game. I'm dropping a Dock here, discarding a Beyond the Horizon, inking again, and then trading with Rhino into Sisu. Sisu is only a 2/4 because I have only 1 card in hand, and it resist +2 prevents damage for Rhino, and questing with Aurora up to 6 lore at this point, and leaving only 1 Headless Horseman on the side of Astrid. She is dropping a 5-cost Elsa, exerting my Dog. And now the sequencing is very interesting. She's removing the Aurora with Elsa, and with the effect of the Headless Horseman, her Headless Horseman gets 5 strength, and then she has enough strength to remove my Rhino in 1 swing, which is pretty good. I'm finding another dog, drawing 2 more cards, leaving me with only 2 dogs in play and not doing anything with the first one. And yeah, I have 2 cards in hand now. I couldn't do anything here. And yeah, it's going back and forth at this point, and I'm only 6 lore ahead, and she's getting into the scary range with Demona, with all the removal stuff, Headless Horseman, Hades, and so on. Dropping a Demona here. She's drawing 2 cards, I'm drawing 1 card, so we both have 3 cards in hand. I have to exert all my cards on board, but with Elsa she can only deal 2 damage onto the dogs, and she's deciding not to go into the dogs, but also not to quest here. And I'm dropping a 6-cost Ariel. Whenever I play a song, I can pay 2 more ink, and to deal 3 damage to a character, and I quest with the dogs because I know I have to do the racing and to quest up to 20 as fast as possible because she's dropping another headless horseman, removing one of my dogs, boosting up the strength of the other characters +1. So her Elsa has now 3 strength and can pretty easily trade into my dog. She's questing with Demona and with Elsa, expected, trading into the dog, leaving me with only the big Ariel on board, and I think 3 or 4 hand cards. I have some options here, dropping an Aurora with 3 ink, but then I know I don't have enough ink to play the pay the additional 2 for the Ariel effect. So I have to sing with Ariel the Zeus onto, I think it was Elsa at this point. But I also think, okay, I deal 4 damage to Demona, pay the 2 ink and remove Demona, but I remove the Elsa, pay the 2 ink, deal 3 damage to the Headless Horseman, leaving only Demona on Astrid's board. And yeah, like I said, it's going back and forth at this point, but we both have cards in hand, we both have options here, and Astrid starting again with Dumbo, keeping her card draw alive and dropping a Peter Pan, also an evasive character, 1 strength, 3 health, quests for 2, and she could use the Dumbo effect twice the next turn, drawing of cards, gaining lore, and I can't really target evasive characters, and she's just challenging into my big Ariel with Demona, leaving 5 damage on the big Ariel and 3 damage on Demona. So even if I decide to challenge into Demona, both of our characters would be removed, and yeah, since I don't have any songs in hand, I decide to remove the Demona and quest with Aurora up to 10 lore. So I'm ahead now in lore, only 10 more lore until the finish line. She's using the Dumbo effect, drawing a card, gaining a lore, dropping a Lumiere with 2 ink, boosting up the strength of each of her other characters, and then she's inking a Hades, dropping a 5-cost Elsa. I exert my Pete referee and she's dealing 3 damage with Elsa and removing the Aurora with Peter Pan, and since they're both evasive, I can't target them the next turn. And at this point, Astrid already took back the board control, even though I had a really good start, gaining lore quickly and having answers to all the characters she's played, dropping with 7 ink, Beyond the Horizon, drawing 3 new cards to maybe find a song for the next turn. I don't have enough ink, I can't target any of her characters, and I do nothing with my Pete because all her characters could take him out easily, and leaving me with no singer on board for my next turn. At least Pete could sing Strength of a Raging Fire. And yeah, she's starting to use Dumbo effect again, drawing a card, gaining 1 lore. She's doing the same with Elsa, drawing a card, gaining 1 lore, and this is where Dumbo shines late in the game. When you drop him and you have multiple evasive characters on board, this is where you can use Dumbo the most. So you want to see him later in the game to use his effect immediately to refresh your hand card. She's dropping another Lumiere, boosting her other characters even more, so they become like very big characters, using the Dumbo effect again with Peter Pan, and she drew in total 4 cards this turn, inking another card and doing nothing with the rest of her ink. And yeah, I'm dropping a big Rhino here, inking a Troubadour, and dropping an Mickey Amber Champion, questing with Pete at this point because I think, okay, I have only 10 lore to go. I have some characters on board now. Maybe I can make it over the finish line, but Astrid is doing her thing, dropping another Headless Horseman, removing my Mickey Amber champion, boosting her other characters even more. She's challenging into my Pete referee with Elsa. She's alive, only 4 damage, using Dumbo effect with Dumbo, drawing a card, gaining 1 lore, which is pretty impressive. I think she had like 6 or 7 cards already off her Dumbo, and this is why I would never cut Dumbo from Ruby Amethyst list or purple decks, because later in the game Dumbo creates so much value against all of the decks, and since Steelsong doesn't have many answers to evasive cards, yeah, it's almost game over at this point. I'm dropping a Beyond the Horizon with an empty hand, drawing 3 new cards to hopefully find at least an answer, but I only find a Mowgli, and I'm questing with Rhino here up to 13, but Astrid has now, let me count quickly, I think it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lower on board, going up to 18 if she quests with all of the cards. And yeah, it's pretty neat to see she has 3 Lumieres on board, so giving all the other characters plus 3 strength at this point. And she has all the ink she needs, and she has Dumbo to use this effect, draw even more cards and gain lore, which is pretty good. And I think we all know at this point there is nothing I can do, and not much I can do, even though Astrid is behind in lore, but she has so much board control and she has so much resources with Dumbo, dropping another 5-cost Elsa, and she's trading into the Rhino with the just played Elsa and taking out Rhino. Elsa lives, and with Lumiere she's taking out a Mowgli, and now at this point she can just quest out, use the Dumbo effect with Dumbo, of course, draw a card, and yeah, I have no characters left on board. I have no mask removal. She's using the effect again with Elsa, and I think we know what's coming. She's questing with Peter Pan up to 13, with the Headless Horseman to 15, and with both of the Lumieres to 17 lore. And at this point I have to remove her entire board. Drawing from the top, I have no answers left. And within a couple turns, Astrid turned the game in her favor, winning both games. And yeah, showing what Ruby Amethyst can do in set 10. And yeah, that's it for today. If you like such gameplay videos, don't forget to give a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, I'm always happy about new viewers, so hit subscribe and join my channel. Thank you, you're here. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Flokki.